Hey guys, so Divers, we're back to watching more of Llama Arts scary horror stories. And last one was really sad, not really scary. It was really, really sad. So I'm hoping to watch more intense horrors. Yeah, let's do it. Oh. Alright. Creepy neighbor. Interesting.
This happened in 2009. We would fly from our home state in California to Minnesota to visit my father's family for the summer. I've always enjoyed it there because of the nature and peaceful atmosphere. My father's family lived far from the nearest town.
That's
we only
beautiful.
had 2 neighbors. My only friend there was a girl who lived next door. Let's call her Morgan.
Is that
She's
the
around
creepy
my
neighbor?
age, and me, my sister, and her would always play from sunrise to sunset. One day at
I
around
remember
4
those
p.m.,
days.
we were outside playing badminton. My sister hit the birdie too hard,
Whoa.
and it landed in the next door
You freaking
neighbor's
take
yard.
her?
Morgan said she had more inside her house and went to get them. I felt uncomfortable leaving it there, so I told my sister I'll go get it myself. She told me not to do it and just wait for Morgan. While my sister was fixing the net, I decided to run and get it real quick. As I was about to enter the gate, my sister grabbed me from behind and began telling me how much of a bad idea it was. That's when an old man came out from behind the house. He picked up the birdie and said, "Is this yours?" I said yes and asked if I could have it back. He said he had his grandchildren's old toys upstairs and asked if we wanted to have them. Me and my sister were very young at the time, and we
Stranger
thought as he
danger.
lived so close and he looked like a typical sweet
Stranger
grandfather.
danger,
What's
buddy.
the worst that could happen? So we agreed and entered through the back door. The first thing I noticed was the stench. It smelled of damp and rotting food. I shrugged it off.
This
at
is
the time
Jack and
since
Jill
he was
shit.
old. Maybe he lived alone. We heard Morgan calling our names, and we politely told the old man that we had
Or
to
not
go.
Jack and Jill,
Maybe
that's
we'd return
something
tomorrow.
else.
Morgan saw us through the window and immediately asked what we were doing there. I answered, "The sweet old man," and she cut me off and said that the house was abandoned since she moved there. I thought she was just playing around with me and told her to cut it out. She had a blank expression, and that's when I knew that she was serious. We never told anyone because we didn't want to cause any trouble. But now that I'm older, I wonder if it was some ghost or creepy old man luring kids into that house. The house got demolished recently, which is why I wanted to share this story.
Whoa. So you saw a ghost. The bridge. Kind of like the game I'm currently playing right now, The Road to Salvation. Ooh, a llama plushie.
So this story takes place when I was about 16 years old.
16.
At my school, I played for the volleyball team, and every year we would go to a camp and do volunteer work for this guy. The camp was in the middle of nowhere. When we got to the camp,
Nowhere.
we immediately started to work until 8 p.m. This was around October, so it was already dark at 8. My 2 friends and I
October.
were sitting around the fire, trying to figure out something we could do so we weren't so bored. We heard that there was a small river down the hill from the camp, and we thought we could check it out. The problem was that it was some guy's property, and the owner of the camp told us to not disturb him since the guy was a little strange. We weren't really supposed to leave the camp, but being 16 years old, we loved breaking the rules.
Yep.
We walked about 10 minutes
What
from
they
the camp
describe
and finally reached
teenagers.
the river. It was bigger than we expected, and there was a large wooden bridge that
The
crossed
water's
it.
pretty.
The bridge
Not
was
gonna
about
lie.
12 feet long
That's
and
really
was big
animated.
enough to let a truck go over it.
Looks
My 2
mystical.
friends and I decided to go under the bridge and check it out. As we were walking by the shoreline, we saw 2 headlights off in the distance moving towards the bridge, so we bolted underneath it and hid. We then heard the truck roll over our heads and to the other side. My friends and I chilled there for a while, just talking and throwing rocks in the water. It was about 8:30 at this time, and now it was pretty much pitch black. That's when we started to hear a slow rumble in the distance. The same truck had come back, and this time it was moving much slower. We stayed put under the bridge, stifling our laughter. Eventually, the truck moved over the bridge, but rather than going over to the other side, the truck stopped right on top of us. The only thing you could hear was the rushing water and the hum of the engine. Then, the door of the truck swung open, and out came a loud thump on top of the bridge. Then we heard a loud scream saying, "I know you're out there! I'm gonna find you!" I looked at my friends and they were both shaking in fear. This must have been the crazy property owner, and he seemed pissed that we were on his land. He started screaming and saying he was gonna hurt us if he finds us. We could see that he had a flashlight and he was swinging it around looking for us. We heard loud thumps as he walked around a little bit, calling out for us, and thank God he never went under the bridge. Eventually, it went silent, and it sounded as if he went back into his truck. I was too terrified to move. We sat there for about 10 minutes, and then my one friend, who we'll call Trevor, whispered in my ear, saying that we have to go. I gave him a quick nod, and in slow motion, we moved out from under the bridge. We started to army crawl on the shoreline of the river, and I remember looking behind me to see the top of the bridge. I saw a white Ford F-150. In the driver's seat was the man, staring right at me with a sinister smile, and he even gave me a little wave. At that moment, I screamed and ran. My friends saw me run and took off after me. I could hear screaming from behind us. I took a quick glance behind me and saw that he was chasing after us, and I couldn't quite make out the object in his hand, but it seemed to be a weapon of some sort. We ran into the forest and ducked behind a bush.
It's William Afton, guys, run!
And we couldn't hear a thing. We sat there for a while, just shaking. The man never walked by us, and we never heard him. After we gathered our courage, we got up and walked back to camp, got into our tents, and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, we talked to the camp owner about the man that owned the property of the river. The camp owner said that he didn't know much about the man, but he knows that he has some mental problems and he'd been accused of assault. I am so happy that we were able to escape from underneath the bridge. I can't imagine what would have happened if he caught us.
Jesus. This just sets two disturbing horror stories.
Over the weekend, about 15 coworkers and myself had our company trip to the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, known for being Stephen King's inspiration for The Shining. We took an 8 p.m. ghost tour where we joined about 15 other people to get guided around the property and told stories about its history and creepy things that are said to have happened. We were told to take a lot of pictures, I'm sure to try and capture orbs or ghosts. Many green orbs were caught in pictures, but I don't think anything is as creepy as this photo taken by my coworker. A little girl in a hot pink dress who was definitely not on our tour. And apparently, years ago, a young girl who was 12 to 13 by the name of Lucy was squatting in the basement of the concert hall, which is where this photo was taken, and she was discovered upon plans to begin some construction. She was forced to leave, and the night got below freezing, so she froze to death. Everyone on my tour has vouched that this girl was not on our tour. I mean, who wouldn't remember someone wearing hot pink? The man pictured is our tour guide. No one would have been in front of him. I am convinced that this is the ghost of Lucy. Just one more added note, though I doubt anyone would believe me. But there was only one time throughout the tour where I felt any strange energy or feeling. And it was right there, headed down to the basement of the concert hall.
Oh. Yep, ghosts can have the energy to, make you feel what they're feeling.
Freshman year was coming to an end. It was a Tuesday night when I was turning in my last essay for history. I left it to the last minute, and the teacher actually made me complete it before I could go home. I hated my teacher for that. Around 8 p.m., I had finished that goddamn essay and was walking home. The rain had stopped, and there was a beautiful sunset.
8 p.m.?
Suddenly, I noticed something. There was a red 2016 Toyota Camry right behind me. I got goosebumps thinking it was following me. I didn't look back and started walking in my apartment's direction. I wanted to go to a busy road to feel safer. Just then, the car sped up, stopping right next to me. A middle-aged man asked me where I was headed and suggested to drop me off. I said no thanks, but the man wouldn't leave and insisted. I wanted to tell the man to just fuck off, but I took off running instead. I heard a loud noise and at the same time felt something I can only describe as a sharp vibration hitting my flesh. I fell to the ground not knowing what happened. Out of adrenaline, I was about to get up and run again as I felt a heavy arm grab me by the mouth. Then the pain set in.
Another
I
kidnapping.
realized that I was shot. There was another man next to him that searched my pockets. He grabbed my phone and threw it on the ground as he tied my legs and taped my mouth. They quickly put me into the trunk of their car and then started driving. I could feel that we were going very fast, and I'm sure that we hadn't stopped at all for a good 30 minutes. I was feeling my blood soaking into my shirt, which scared me the most. I was certain that I was going to die. I was thinking about my parents and what they would feel when they heard that I was missing. Then the car came to a stop. By some miracle, I heard a police officer asking for IDs and driver's licenses. I wanted to yell for help, but nothing came out. Just then, I heard 3 to 4 gunshots. I heard another cop yelling, "Man down! Man down! Shots fired!" I was begging the cop to find me. Then I heard the cop searching the car. I was feeling joy as my pain was growing worse. Seconds felt like hours. The officer then opened the car's trunk and suddenly started firing at me out of a fight or flight response. Thankfully, the bullets missed.
What?
The officer quickly caught up to the fact that I was kidnapped and injured. He called for backup immediately, and it arrived in minutes. They placed the injured officer onto a gurney and drove off in an ambulance. Finally, when the scene was safe, they called another ambulance for me. I woke up in the hospital. The news media was everywhere.